Hello, hello, hello. I am so very sorry that this Facebook post or Facebook Live is so late today. Uh, it's been a weird day after a sort of yucky afternoon yesterday. One of the things I'm sure I've told you guys is that after Joshi died, Shannon and I found it very difficult to actually stay awake. So he prescribed us Ritalin to do two things. One, to give us a bit of energy and help us stay awake, but also to help with the lack of focus that we were both experiencing. So this morning I was feeling fairly groggy actually when I woke up. So I took the Ritalin and I thought, well, I'll just lie down in bed and wait for it to kick in, because I know that usually after about 20 minutes, suddenly I can't stay in bed and I've got to rush up and do all the things that like normal people do. And the next thing I knew, I was getting a phone call from my son going, "Mom, I have finished my exam and where are you?" So bang goes my idea as Ritalin as my kind of wake up mother's little helper. And I guess it maybe follows on from yesterday. So yesterday was a shitty afternoon, but whilst I was lying there yesterday afternoon, and I'll tell you a little bit about the lying there in a moment, I was thinking about there really are a whole lot of things in my life that I've always just taken for granted and I thought were kind of normal. And it's only in the last, since I've been talking about my weirdness and anxiety and being treated, that I've realized actually like no one else does, or only people with anxiety actually do. So I thought I would share 4 of them with you today. So there we go, is that better? If you hear beeping and cars going in the outside, it is because there's a Guns N' Roses concert tonight. And so there are kids coming and going, getting lifts and getting ready. There is a huge amount of teenage resentment in the house where one of the parents, the kids are going on we're going on their own, and in a last minute moment of helicopter parenting, one of the mothers said, no, a parent must go too. So our friend Kamara picked the short straw of having to go and be the responsible adult. So if there's stuff going on in the background, that's what it is. It's lifts arriving and children arriving. And then and I actually have all the concerts I think to be worried about. I think Guns N' Roses is probably the least one. I think these 5 kids that are going are probably going to be the only under kind of 45-year-olds in the whole stadium. But anyway, so here are my 4 things. So the first is, and we've spoken about this before, is I honestly thought everybody woke up in the middle of the night and spent a couple of hours being awake, doing worrying or being anxious, and one of the things that I've always done to mitigate against that is I've read. And for years people have been asking me, but how do you find time to do so much reading? And I'm like, well, I don't watch much TV. But it occurred to me yesterday is, I have an extra 2 hours reading that nobody else has. And now it is one of the great disappointments of being in treatment, because of course I sleep through the night and that reading time is gone. And in addition to that is that I read right up until the moment I fall asleep. So that's one of the coping mechanisms I've had for ages, is like read until your eyes actually just fall asleep and the Kindle falls on you. And irritatingly now I read until I fall asleep, but of course I've taken medication. So then the next day I pick up the book and I'm like, but I don't remember reading any of this, and I have to read the same stuff again. Anyway, that is number 1. Number 2, which again, it was an absolute revelation to me. So last week I was talking to somebody and I said to her, isn't that second when you first wake up in the moment before the dread sets in just your best moment of the whole day? And she looked at me like, what are you talking about? And for me, every day I wake up and there is a moment, and it really is, it's less than a second, where the sheets feel nice, I've had a good sleep, the sun is coming into the room and everything is fine. And then the dread sets in and I have the tightness in my chest and the nausea and the kind of, swirling in my tummy. I have to say it is hugely better since I've been taking the medication, but it only occurred to me or when I was talking to this friend of mine that nobody else starts every day with, a good few minutes of dread. And so a friend of mine said to me, well, if you can't do the weighing at 2 in the morning, why don't you, like spend that hour, between kind of 5 and 6 in the morning reading. I'm like, what? That's my dread time. I'm busy doing dreading then. So anyway, the third one, and this kind of talks to yesterday. So yesterday morning, I had a great morning. It was full of beans. And what happened was, I think, accidentally, I skipped one of my tablets. I skipped one of the tranquilizer tablets. I think I was feeling great. And it's an on-demand tablet, so I was like, well, why bother, And then it was like every problem in the universe landed on me about, 12 o'clock. And one of the things that I did was I took more medication, and I thought, well, maybe I'll sleep. But by then I'd taken Ritalin, so I couldn't sleep. And I was lying in bed. One of the things that I realize I do when I'm having these massive anxiety, it's not really anxiety attack, it's just moments of anxiety, is, I lie really still in bed and pretend I don't exist. And it was only when I said to Shannon, I've spent the afternoon pretending not to exist, and he looked at me like with a kind of expression, that I realized that other people don't do that. So that's the third thing. And then the fourth thing I think quite a lot of you share with me, actually, I don't know that this is necessarily like a pathology, was that I will be halfway through a conversation and something will trigger me, and suddenly I am completely distracted from the conversation because I have remembered something from like 30 years ago that fills me with shame. And it's like I'm Bambi in the headlights. I can't do anything. I just am blushing and sweating and remembering the time, when I was 8 years old and picking my nose in the school dining room, and somebody called me out on it, and I know lots of people have that, and I see memes about it, so I know you have it. That is the fourth thing that I assumed everybody had, but I think only some of you have. So that is it for today. I apologize that it is so late. I hope some of you will be able to catch this up later in the day, because there's very few people online. Facebook might hide it from you. As always, guys, thank you for the comments. Please like and share. The Facebook page has actually increased by 200 people in the last 2 weeks since I've been doing that. So I know that some of you are liking and sharing, and please keep doing it. Hopefully some of you found it funny, but more importantly, if there are people out there who feel like they are the only weirdnesses, you are not. Weirdness, anxiety, it's like a lot of us have it. You can live with it, you can be treated for it, and actually the truth is it's like when I'm allowing myself my usual weirdness is the time people seem to like me most. It's when I'm pretending that I'm normal that everyone goes off me. So please, if you know somebody who, suffers from weirdness in whatever formats, please share this with them. Please, please, please share it with them. They have to know that this is something that you don't have to have, don't have to be the end of your life. Okay. So we are on Thursday. I know every day this week has felt like Friday. So one more update this week before I take the weekend off. I've even forgotten what I'm going to tell you about. So you'll have to wait and see. Okay, bye.